Welcome to Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater. Issues and Answers is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. And now, Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater.
Welcome to the program. I'm Diane Kinderwater. We have a treat for you today. We are going to meet some friends of ours, not just people who work at the Wildlife Rescue Incorporated of New Mexico, but also their furry, I'm not sure if we can say furry, feathery friends that they brought, American kestrels, they're falcons. And we're going to talk about how the rescue, New Mexico Wildlife Rescue, helps these birds and mammals and reptiles and amphibians. And if you find something injured in the street, in your yard, when you're out hiking, how you can contact them and they can refer themselves or other places, entities that help the wildlife here in New Mexico. So please stay with us as we talk again to Wildlife Rescue Incorporated of New Mexico and their feathery friends. We'll be back right after this.
Hey America, now there's a place where we can join our voice, Real America's Voice. Real America's Voice is coming to a town near you with a grassroots approach, bringing the real voice of America together. Real America's Voice is growing our family of networks across the country, and soon you could be part of that change. Download the Real America's Voice app and join other Americans just like you across the country, coming together for real.
This show is going to make you smile because my guest just kind of likes to laugh at how much I don't know about wildlife. She's laughing. She laughs a lot. Penny Elliston is one of the founders of Wildlife Rescue Incorporated of New Mexico. Penny, thanks for coming back, and thanks for your delightful smile and laughing at me. Beverly Riley, Wildlife Rescue board member, and also a volunteer with Wildlife Rescue Incorporated of New Mexico. Well, you're the humans here. Let's talk about your feathery friends. Who did you bring and why, Penny? Oh.
Well, I brought in a kestrel. He's the smallest of our native falcons. He's built just like a peregrine falcon, built for speed. And he's got,
there we go.
Can you see his eye? Because
he likes to look at you. Look at me. There you go.
Maybe I turn it this way.
There we go.
He's blind in one eye, and that's why we have him as an educational bird. We can, you can see that this is the male because he has bluish wings. And this one, the female, has brown wings with stripes on them. Well, bars on them.
Show me the blue. Oh, I see the blue. Okay.
Hold
yours up also, Beverly, close, so we can see the two together. That's the male with the blue and the female with the brown.
He bites.
What's the story? So you rescue wildlife throughout the state. People contact you. They find
an injured bird. This bird had been hit by a car, and his left wing is a little bit non-functional, but his left eye disappeared during rehabilitation. And we knew he could not see out of it anyway, but it just reabsorbed. So you can see that he's blind in his left eye, and he also doesn't fly perfectly. So for a meat-eating bird, he's not built for hunting anymore.
Beverly?
The female had a broken left wing, and you can see that left wing doesn't lie flat like the right wing does.
Let's see what's going on with the wing. This one is, hanging down a little bit.
Yeah,
okay.
Just a little bit. So she also is not a well-flighted bird. The kestrel is, it is a meat eater. It's an opportunistic eater. You'll find them out in rural areas, particularly sitting on fences waiting for rodents or large grasshoppers to pass by. They used to be known as sparrowhawks because they would also take on a sparrow if they had the opportunity to.
Your goal, you're keeping these at your wildlife rescue because they're injured, they can't go back into the wild, but your goal, Penny, is what? at Wildlife Rescue Incorporated in New Mexico?
Well, the reason we keep these few educational birds, which all have permits from the federal government to be educational birds, is to take them, to show them to people like you, everyone here, and especially children, who can then identify them when they're sitting on wires, and they have a vested interest in them because they have made friends with one closer up in their classroom or something like that. And we can talk about their habits and their needs and how people can live happily with wildlife.
But your idea is to really rescue, rehabilitate, and release them.
Oh yes, release is a very critical part of our permitting process.
Your hand's getting tired.
No.
You can put it on.
No.
Yes.
No,
Are you getting tired? You're okay.
I'm trying to keep him pointing in the right direction so you can see his eye and not his blind eye.
Okay. So, but releasing is your goal.
But release is our goal. Yes. These are unique birds because they are willing to live with us and to go to groups and classes and behave well. A wild bird by itself.
Oops.
Everybody does it. A wild bird would not tolerate being sitting here in this setting.
Okay.
So they've been
Educational programs, do you hold them on the weekends? Tell me about your educational programs, Beverly.
We have people that go into the schools with birds and show them, talk to the students about it. We attend local functions. Most recently, we were at a neighborhood fair, Los Griegos Community Fair, and we had birds there at the time. Yes. We've gone to birthday parties.
How nice.
Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah.
Better than a clown. Oops, clown. You won't have a nightmare. If it's a clown showing up, you'd have a nightmare. You can't even have clowns anymore. I don't think so. That's maybe 50 years ago. So you can go to a birthday party and show the kids.
Absolutely.
Or the adults at the birthday party.
Yes.
How wonderful. What message would you like to get out about Wildlife Rescue Incorporated in New Mexico, Beverly? What would you like to tell folks?
I would like to let people know that they can ask their questions. We provide a service to the wildlife of New Mexico, but we also provide a service to the public. It's so important for people to know there's someone they can ask questions about, and I wish our facility, our rescue clinic, were open to the public. It isn't always, but we will have an open house November 25th, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and we'll have all of our education birds there. Our volunteers will be there to talk to different people about what they do, and it's a wonderful event for families to attend.
Is that usually in November after the Saturday after? Aren't we supposed to be
Absolutely.
shopping then?
Well, you can shop there.
And if you have small children, shopping gets tired pretty quickly. So this is another place you can take your family to
Isn't
be
that
entertained.
nice? Is there another time of the year, Penny, that you have welcome the public in?
Well, we do public programs at the Rio Grande Nature Center in particular. And where else do we do them? We used to do them at Bosque del Apache, but I'm not sure that we will do them now. They're rearranging their schedule. We did it at Griegos Park. Mm-hmm. We had people streaming through from 10 to 3.
We did. Open space out on Coors. We do programs out there periodically.
And they can just easily go online and find out about these
Yes.
programs. Very nice.
And we have a Facebook page where people can see pictures, and there are a few videos on it as well.
You see him doing that, shaking his feathers and getting them all into the right position. It means he's comfortable. He feels fine. He's not stressed by being here at all.
Life is good.
Life is good. Okay, life is good when he's flapping. You're
Well, he
flapping.
thinks he
Seems
might like to
uncomfortable.
go somewhere, but
Seems like he wants to go
maybe
somewhere.
not.
Deal with a lot of birds. So would birds be the biggest
80%.
80% of your rescues are with
Yeah.
birds, and
Yeah.
again, you ask people to try to bring them to your location rather than go to their location. After birds, what would be the next animal or bird or reptile that you rescue?
Well, mammals.
A lot of cottontails
A lot of cottontail
and
bunnies.
squirrels.
And a lot of squirrels, little ground squirrels of various kinds. We have more little mammals in this state than any other state in the country except California. And the reason California has more mammals is because they have a seacoast, and we don't. Tingley Beach is not good for seals.
Mammals, Beverly, mammals? We have a lot of mammals here.
We
Little
do.
mammals. Like
We
what?
do.
Little rodents? Rodents?
Little rodents. There are several different types of mice that come to the clinic. Squirrels, different types of squirrels. We get chipmunks that frequently hitch a ride into town with vacationers. They go to Socorro or up to Colorado, where a chipmunk will find a home in their vehicle or their RV, and they get into town, and where's this from? And it isn't native, but we'll still take it and try and take it back to its home when it's ready to go.
What other little mammals do we have?
What other little mammals? We occasionally get a ringtail cat, which is not quite so little, but is a native animal from around here. Come on.
Porcupine.
We get porcupines, which one sees.
What's he saying?
He's saying, let me go, I want to go fly someplace. But
Porcupines?
I'm going to go.
What about raccoons? You don't take raccoons.
We don't
We
take
don't.
raccoons.
You don't take
because
raccoons.
they carry
Yeah.
2 very serious
Yeah.
diseases
I agree.
for people.
And the larger mammals you'd call?
We call people who can handle the larger mammals.
What are the little animals that burrow in the hills that
Well, go first, the various
go?
kinds.
Well, the bigger ones.
Well,
There's
prairie dogs.
Prairie dogs.
Prairie dogs. There is an organization
Yeah.
called Prairie Dog Pals,
Right.
and we refer to them.
To relocate them. What would you like to share with the public or with me about your rescuing that we may not know about, Penny?
Well, that we have, well, about rescuing, I think
Or
that
rehabilitation.
we do what we can for the animals. Mostly they do it for themselves. We just give them safety and food, and then they are released. For the people, we serve quite an important, I think, mental health service, because when people find a baby animal or an injured animal, they really want to do something for it. And there are very few places in Albuquerque and in New Mexico that take care of birds. I just read in the paper the other day about parrot rescue, and that's the only other place I know that deals with birds.
Parrot rescue. Do we have wild parrots around
Well,
here?
they're not wild parrots. They're tame
Oh, the little
parrots
parrots.
that have been orphaned or,
Okay.
they're big parrots that
One
live
reason
80
or
years and people die.
What are the questions people ask the most, Beverly Riley?
Oh, can I touch this bird?
I was going to ask that.
The answer is no.
The answer is no, because it will still bite you, and I don't think Penny or myself are very concerned about these kestrels biting us, but they do bite, and their beaks can be very sharp as their talons.
They eat meat, and it's raw meat.
Tell us a little bit about the reptiles that you find.
Well, we got an interesting one just the other day. We don't get very many reptiles. We get the occasional snake, but we get lots of box turtles that people find walking around, which they should probably leave alone.
Yes.
Um,
And red sliders.
and red sliders.
What's a red
Which-
slider?
It's an aquatic turtle, and you can recognize them by the red on their feet. And they grow rather large, and people will get them as pets, and they reach a certain size and they don't want them anymore, and it's hard to find a place for them.
They're not native to New Mexico.
At all.
So what should people do with them, Beverly?
My first suggestion is to always call Clark's Pet Emporium, because they were running a red slider adoption program, and I hope they still are for people that are listening.
Okay. So
But the other day,
Yes,
we got
Penny.
a big water turtle from the Rio Grande. Or actually, it was from somebody's swimming pool. The rescuer said that they found it in the swimming pool with a hook in its mouth. And they live in the Rio Grande. They're Midland, what are they called? Midland soft-shelled turtles. And they look like swimmers. And this one we sent to a veterinarian to get his hook removed, and he'll go back to the river.
Ah,
So that's good.
Yeah.
so you use veterinarians as well.
Oh, absolutely. We have some wonderful volunteer veterinarians.
Oh, nice. How wonderful. So the turtles, you were saying the other turtles, they should leave them alone? They don't need rescuing, Beverly Riley.
You know, someone was walking down one of the bike paths on the Bosque and found a turtle and brought it into us. And it's just, well, you should have left that alone, but we just rehomed it. We took it to the Discovery Pond area at the Nature Center, and
What was their concern? It shouldn't be walking on the bike path? I mean, what was...
shouldn't be on the bike path. Somebody's going to get it, and I guess, you know, there are so many dogs, it's possible, but it's going to make its way home.
If you see a turtle crossing the road, be sure to take it to the side that it's going to, not the side it came from, because it will just turn around and cross the road again.
Absolutely.
Why is it crossing the road?
Because it wants to get to the other side. I know that joke.
I thought that was just... No, truly, is it looking for food? Is it going back to its nest?
Yes, any of the above, whatever is in the turtle's
And
mind.
turtles are explorers. They are looking under everything, around everything. If you have them in your backyard like I do, you know that they're escape artists. They will do anything to try and get someplace else.
Okay, the amphibian.
The amphibian is,
Tur-
amphi means both, too. It can live both in water or on land by breathing air or breathing water. A fish is not an amphibian because it can't live out of the water. We are not amphibians because we can't breathe water. A frog, on the other hand, is, and has several stages of life, one of which is it has to be in the water.
Tadpoles.
Two of which have.
The tadpoles.
Tadpoles, eggs, have to be in the water. And then the tadpoles metamorph, which is a great word to learn, into another creature, like, you know, the avenging
Frogman.
frogman. Yeah, frogman.
It's a frogman. Are there injured frogs and toads that are brought into the rescue center?
Yes, not very many, but there are some. And many of them manage to just repair themselves in the wild. They dig a hole in the dirt and lie there until everything gets better and come out again.
Don't they grow something? What animal or mammal or reptile is that? Something that they
salamander?
lose their...
Some do. Some will
Leg.
regrow a limb.
Yeah.
They may regrow the limb without a bone in it because they don't regrow the bone, but they may grow something that works like.
Is that an amphibian that does that, or
Yes,
other?
an amphibian will do that.
Very good. Tell me some cases, the most bizarre. I mean, I think finding a big turtle with a hook in a swimming pool is kind of unusual. What are some other unusual cases that you've dealt with?
Oh dear.
You know, how about the story of Denise and the birds from the Grants area where they were doing the construction?
Oh yes, that's we have one member who is particularly good at raising hatchling birds, birds that have just come out of the egg, and songbirds, hatchling songbirds. There's several of us can raise hatchling meat eaters, everything from roadrunners to falcons and great horned owls. But she was able to contract through us with the Patton Industries, who is building a big wind farm, not in Grants, but in closer to Artesia, I think. And they now are just getting ready to get into the next stage of operation. But when they were doing an examination of the landscape that they were going to use, they came across nesting birds. And by law, they have to find a place to manage those birds. So they were bringing the birds and their eggs and their, not the birds, but not the parent birds, but the eggs and hatchlings to us and to our hatchling bird raiser. And we were able to return some of them to the area to maintain the population of things like horned larks and
That's quite a few.
Yeah.
But
That's
any other,
pretty
that's
exciting.
good. That's very good. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. And we're happy to work with industries that are building a building and things are getting displaced, or that are putting up wires, putting up windows that birds will fly into. That's a big hazard for birds. Flying into windows, and people say, oh, it broke its neck. Well, it didn't break its neck.
What?
It got a concussion, and it bleeds out at the back of the brain. Because birds have a neck that is longer, twice as long as ours. They have more vertebrae in their neck than we do. So though the neck is flopping around, it's not a broken neck. It's a bleeding brain.
Concussion.
And,
If
yeah.
people find a dead bird, reptile, what should they do with that?
Well, they can bring that to us too. We give them all to the Museum of Southwestern Biology at UNM. And that goes into their collection. So they don't have to go out and collect some wild living animal to add to the collection.
So if you find something dead, still it's useful.
Yes, as long as it's
Absolutely.
a good specimen. If it,
It's been crushed by several tires.
No.
not so good.
Well, the birds running into the
Yeah.
patio door, I've had some of those.
Yeah.
So those are cases too that you're able to do.
You know, we
Yes.
did have an interesting case years ago where it was a little burrowing owl who came to us from someone who was trying to rehab them at home. They'd found it and thought, wouldn't this be great to raise this owl? And so they kept it. I'm not sure how long they kept it, but the deformities
They fed it
were
hamburger.
apparent. They fed it hamburger, and they need more than hamburger.
We all need more
We
than
all need
hamburger.
more than
is very
hamburger.
deficient in calcium. And that little bird didn't get enough calcium to build its bones. So when it grew up, they noticed that it couldn't stand on its feet anymore because its feet were all curled up like this. So at that point, they brought it to us, a little late.
Yeah.
And that bird served as an education bird for us for many years. He was wonderful.
Absolutely was, and he was a reminder to people how specialized their diets are, their care needs to be, and not to try and rehab them themselves, which legally they can't do anyway unless they have a federal permit.
What about the little bunny? You say you find rabbits, cottontails. What's going on with those?
Well,
Penny?
they're not protected, and they are prey. They are very important because they are the prey base for
Your friends.
our meat eaters. But what's going on with them is that some dog or some cat finds a nest, which is in the grass, in the ground, and will disrupt it. And then the person comes along and sends their pet away and rescues, in quotes, the the baby rabbits, and then they bring them to us, and we are expected to raise them. And we do. We do a pretty good job of it.
We have a great mammal team.
Yeah.
They work very hard.
Why do they work hard, Beverly Riley?
They need to be there feeding those animals regularly. Is it the baby rabbits where they have to massage their stomachs to get them to poop? Yep. They've got to attend to a lot of concerns for these babies.
And do it on a regular basis throughout the
yes.
night. Whereas with birds, when the sun goes down, the baby bird goes to sleep. And that's the end of it. When the sun comes up, on the other hand, then they wake up and you have to get up and feed them.
You've been doing this many, many, many decades.
5.
How wonderful.
5 decades.
And our last minute, again, Penny Elliston, Wildlife Rescue founder, one of the founders of Wildlife Rescue Incorporated of New Mexico. Any parting thoughts you'd like to share with the public out there?
Well, just if you find an injured animal, please get in touch with some rehabilitator to help take care of it. And that person can probably refer you to us or to one of the other rehabilitators around town to help keep our wildlife healthy and happy in New Mexico.
And wild. Keep them in the
wild.
wild. And wild.
And wild.
Thank you. Beverly Riley, 9 years volunteering with Wildlife Rescue. What has this meant for your life, and why should people join you in volunteering?
It is a great place to learn more about wildlife if you have any interest at all. It's a great service to the community and to the wildlife of New Mexico. And there are so many different ways to help that there's a job for everyone there.
Job. Volunteering job.
A volunteer job.
And there's, again, fundraisers that you have,
Yes.
especially the one after Thanksgiving every year that you have
Absolutely.
people.
We love everybody. It's a great family event, and it's a super event for photographers because how often do you get to see these fellows up close?
And they're wild, but they're very tame today. Thank
Yes.
you both, Penny and Beverly, for being
Thank
part of
you.
this program.
Thank you, Diane.
And happy holidays to everybody. They're here. Thanks for watching the show. I'm Diane Kinderwater. Make it a great week with your family. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
The New Mexico Modern Child Support Family Program works to benefit both parents for the purpose of improving children's lives. It provides the basics of child support, but goes further by helping parents step up to find better job opportunities that get them back on track to paying their monthly child support obligation. Find out how the Child Support Step Up program can help your modern family. Contact New Mexico Child Support today to learn more.
Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. To comment on today's program or to purchase a copy of any Issues and Answers program, visit sunbroadcasting.org or call us at 505-345-1991.